Hey guys, how's everybody's night? It is me again, Veronica. Fresh face this time, as you see. Anyways, I told you that I would do another case tonight because I have got a lot of them what can I say? How can I put it? I got a lot of them printed, you might as well say, and I just, want to read off of what I typed up. But there's quite a bit that I want to do this Halloween, this month of October, because of the simple fact that, it's a scary month, as I always say. It's Halloween and perfect time to commit the perfect murder, I guess, because a lot of these cases still to this day has not been solved, for the simple fact that during Halloween you are wearing a costume and you're not looking out of place. You're not, matter of fact, if you're not dressed up, you're kind of looking out of place because they're like, well, where is your costume? And you're like, well, this is my costume, and it's like, yeah, that part. But anyways, I'm gonna pull up some more cases that I am going to read off to y'all, where we left off at. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's go. Anyways, okay, this is the, well, we done that one. Okay, guys, let me go on down through here. Okay. This is the murder of Norton Greoroy. Kirkland, Washington was a quiet place in the 1950s, on a road to nearby Redmond, my bad, which today is a much bustier Northeast 7th, God, guys, I cannot talk tonight. It's 7th Street, stood a small gas station and convenience store. It had been opened by Norton Greoroy in 1952. Norton lived a few blocks away with his wife Helen and their 6 children. On October the 31st of 1957, a customer, Miss O'Farah, entered the store to find Norton lying on the floor. He had been shot in the head 5 times, guys. 5 times. Like one had done the job 5 times. Completely overkill. Amazingly, he was still clinging to life. Oh, wow. He was still clinging to life at that point, though he would ultimately succumb to his wounds. Miss O'Farah called the King County Sheriff's Office. An officer soon arrived. She never set foot in that store again, in which, can we not blame her? I mean, what she just seen, I wouldn't set foot in that store either. It'd have been the end for me at that store. Okay. The coroner later found that the 5 gunshots Norton took, 3 were fired from close range. It was speculated that perhaps he had come across someone stealing money from the cash register, and the thief panicked and started shooting. Rumors flew about people with grudges or that Norton had gambled debts, but they were never substantiated. To the amazement of many, Helen reopened the store only a few weeks after Norton's death and ran it herself. She later married a sheriff's deputy in 1958. It seemed for a time that the case was going to be solved. A teenager confessed to killing Norton and told authorities where the murder weapon could be found. However, it turned out that the boy had been a patient at Western State Hospital on the day of the murder. The case has gone quiet cold since then. The most recent notes in the file are from 1966. It is entirely possible that Norton's killer is now dead. Excuse me, guys. So, this happened back in the 1950s. So, Norm here is probably pretty much in his middle aged. So, like they said, the possibility of this murder being solved is probably slim to none, because more than likely the killer may be deceased or they could still be living. You never know, because some people, that blood runs in them and they have a very long lifespan. Like my grandmother, my great great grandmother lived to see, they think it was between 100 and 107, 110, somewhere around there. They were not sure because they did not have birth certificates back then. And she was full-blooded Cherokee Indian. And she lived that long of a life. So you never know, that they still could be alive, You never know. Okay, let's go on to the next one. This is the murder of, I'm wanting to say, Apiana Ginga. We're going to call her Miss Ginga. Ginga was an amazing young woman. The 24-year-old software engineer had graduated from Rutgers and worked for a company in Bellevue, Washington. Her interests outside of work included motorcycles and taekwondo. Guys, I don't know why I said that different, but okay. Taekwondo. Okay. And she also volunteered at both the fire department and an animal shelter. By all accounts, Apiana, I'm going to call her Pia. That's what I want to call her. Greatly appreciated her life and was well liked. During the first weekend of November 2008, however, Pia's father became worried. She hadn't answered several phone calls. On Monday, a friend of his went to her apartment in Redmond and checked on her, accompanied by Pia's next-door neighbor. They discovered that the door to her apartment had been forced open. Pia's new body was found on the floor of her bedroom. She had been beaten severely, gagged with duct tape, and in all likelihood raped. The apparent murder weapon was nearby bootlace, which had been used to strangle her. Pia's killer had taken steps to destroy evidence. Motor oil had been poured all over her body and other items, and her hands was slathered with toilet paper cleaner. The linens had been removed from her bed, and the comforter was found soaking in the bathtub, and another blanket had been partially burned. How had this happened? How? My Lord. On Halloween, Pia and others in her apartment building had thrown a combined Halloween party spread across several units. She was last seen alive at around 3 a.m. the next morning when she left an apartment on the ground floor and went to her own on the third floor. Afterwards, her neighbors heard muffling, moaning sounds, but they took the noise to be the indicative of a consensual sex. It was as if believed that Pia was murdered at around 8 a.m. She wasn't found until November 3rd, despite the killer's attempts to destroy evidence. DNA was discovered from the crime scene. The problem was that it belonged to 3 different people. The bootlace had DNA from a man who had an alibi. DNA belonged to a man named Emmanuel Fair, a convicted sex offender who raped a 14-year-old girl in 2004, was on Pia's neck as well as the duct tape. A rope stained with the victim's blood found in a trash bin nearby also had his DNA. The third man was Pia's own next-door neighbor who had been present when her father discovered her body. This DNA was found on a bottle of motor oil, which was on the trash bin with the robe. The neighbor further aroused suspicions when he tried to destroy evidence that he called Pia on the night she was killed. In fact, he was the last person to call her before she was murdered. He also attempted to flee to Canada. Despite this, he was never charged with her murder due to a lack of evidence. So you do got to have evidence, but to me, this is just strong evidence right here. They found this man's DNA in 3 different places that it should not have been, guys. Should not have been, but it was. Emmanuel Fair was charged in 2010. His first trial ended with a hung jury in 2017, and he was acquitted in June of 2019. During the second trial, the neighbor testified that asserted his Fifth Amendment rights against saying anything which could incriminate it to him. so he could only be asked so much. Additionally, it had been previously ruled that prosecutors couldn't argue that Fair and the neighbor killed Pia together, as evidence for this theory was deemed insignificant. A juror later told the press that the main reason Fair was acquitted was that the jury couldn't be sure that the neighbor wasn't the sole murderer. A definite answer to the case of the Pia Jacana something removes exclusive. So guys, tell me about this. Okay, if there is DNA found, and I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to get this situated where, I got my Christmas lights up back here, that I love, but they're like glaring. But tell me this, guys, there is DNA found in 3 different places that they should not be found at, but they're saying there's lack of evidence to convict this guy. To me, that sounds like that is pretty strong evidence to convict somebody. I mean, in my opinion, because why would their evidence be on a shoelace? Why is it on the motor oil? Why is his evidence even, his DNA found, where else was it found? In the blood mixed in with her. Why? Why would his blood even be there? Come on now, guys. I understand there was a Halloween party going on, and I understand, all this and all that. But, did he cut himself? Could he prove he cut himself? Does he have a alibi like the other one did? What, guys? This is just puzzling, and it kind of really confuses me at why there was not enough evidence to convict this man in the first place whenever there was DNA found in 3 different places that it should not be in. But also whenever they did try him, they did try, he was acquitted for lack of evidence. What is this world coming to, guys? What is this world coming to? I just don't know. I just don't know about this world anymore. I'm kind of scared of it. Kind of makes you not want to go out and do nothing for Halloween. It's like, oh, I'm okay. I want to stay at home. We're going to do us a little Halloween party here with just, immediate family and no stranger danger. That's exactly what it's like, But anyways, guys, those are another 2 cases owned and under my unsolved Halloween murder cases. So with that being said, I'm going to get off of here and I'm going to do research on a few more things because these are so fascinating to me. And remember, love is love. Be kind, stay beautiful, and always put God first. I'm out, guys. Mwah.